Hi! In this video, we're going to actually install the Netcode for Gameobject library and connect the NetworkManager to the Relay service. Let's get started! So first thing first, we're going to fix a bug. So right now, if you launch the game as a host, don't touch the map selection and then try to start the game, you actually get an error where it says that it doesn't have the scene name. So this is because when we initialize the game, we initialize the game lobby here at the index 0. Where is it? It's in the create lobby here. We initialize with the map index of 0, but we kind of don't know what the map name is for, the scene name is for the index 0. So in here, because it's in the lobby UI, like we have the map section data right here. So what we're going to do is whenever we start the game, we're going to set the name right here. So if you're actually the host, so in else here, we're going to do this so that this is initialized to 0, and so we're going to set the scene name. So that's that bug fixed. Okay, so now we're going to go in Unity and we're going to install some package. So in here, the package we want to install actually are not in the registry, so we're going to need to install them by name. So you can go here, add package by name, and here it is, com.unity.netcode.gameobjects. So you're going to add that. Now that this is done, we're going to install another package. It's com.unity.multiplayer.tools. So this is going to be some tools that's going to help us throughout development, so to get better insight on actually what's going on. All right, now this is done, we can close this, clear that. And what we're going to do is we're going to start creating our game manager. So let's go into our first map. So for the purpose of this video, I'm only going to update like the red scene. Yeah, let's go with the red scene. So I'm just going to update the red scene, but what I do in the red scene, you're going to need to do it in the other scene too. So basically you probably would have a setup with another scene with everything you need and maybe drag and drop. For now, it's just to show you how to do this simple way. So we're going to create a game object, an empty one, and we're going to call it GameManager. GameManager. Okay. Oh, let's fix a typo here. And no, I didn't want to. Okay, this is not. Here we go. GameManager. There we go. Now it worked. Okay, so and we can go already and create a script that we're going to attach to it. So here, you can put it into the game repo here. So GameManager, because this is something that's more specific for the game. There's going to be some element that's going to be there for all games, but we got to let it compile. That are going to be specific for this game, and other things that are going to be like for all, but you need a game manager per game anyway, so let's leave it here. Here you go, it compiles, so we're going to add it here, and there we go. And we have one more object that we're going to create, which is the NetworkManager. NetworkManager. And we're going to add here a script, NetworkManager. And yeah, this script is going to be the thing that lets us communicate with the network. So the things you want to have to do here is we're going to need to set the player prefab. So that's going to be whatever is spawned when you start the game. And we're going to need to select here transport. This is going to be Unity transport. So let's create like a little game object here, simple, like player. Right now it has nothing. You know what? We're not going to even do that. We're just going to use the one we already have here. We have a lobby player. Let's duplicate that. Control D, and then we can go inside, rename it. Rename. Let's go with just player prefab. Okay, so now we have a player prefab here. Rename file. Here we're going to keep the capital of the player name, but we're going to just remove the indicator here. So that's how we're going to have a distinction between the lobby one and the non-lobby one. Okay, so here in the network manager, oh yeah, one more thing. So anything you put in the player prefab or the network network prefab needs to have actually a script attached to it at least, which is the network object. So it makes that object register with a network manager and then available to sync some data in between. You can leave it for now at normal. We just need that. And if you try to add your prefab without this script on it to the network manager, it's going to tell you in the console. So but now we can do that, and then you need to also add it here. There you go. So now you have your player prefab, you have your network prefab here. We are ready to go in code and connect to the server and spawn that player. Actually, I just realized that my scene is not quite ready. So what we're going to do is, my scene, the floor is not at 0, 0. So make sure yours is at 0, 0. And then go here, because for now we're just going to spawn our players, but our player is going to spawn at the origin. We can set after that some spawn point where we want an actual player to spawn, but for now that's going to be at 0, 0. So let's set up our camera in here. So let's go. I'm going to set it like this, right click, align with view, so that whenever I spawn, I'm at 0, 0 and I'm looking at 0, 0. Okay, so now let's go into the code. So now in the GameManager script, what we want to do is we want to connect the netcode for GameObject, the NetworkManager, give him the information of the relay he needs to connect to. For that, there's a different method if you're actually the host or not. So what we're going to do is we need to know if we are the host. So we're going to do RelayManager dot instance dot is host. So that's what we want to do. This method doesn't exist right now, so we're going to create it. Create property is host, so it's gonna do this. What we're gonna do is we're gonna create, let's say here, private bool underscore is host. Okay, and what we're gonna do is we're gonna initialize that false, because most of the time here there's only one host, so this is the most common value. But just if you're actually the one who created the relay, I'm gonna set you as the host. So IsHost here is gonna return IsHost, and there you go. So now in the game manager we can know if you are the host, and if not, we're gonna use a different way to connect to the relay. Now let's start to set up the logic we need to connect. So first thing, for every connection, you have a connection approval that you can set up. So let's go in here, manager.singleton.networkconfig.connection approval. And we're going to set that to true, because we want every request to connect to the server to be approved by our host. So for that, here we're going to need to create a callback. So networkmanager.singleton.connection approval callback equals, and then we can create a method here. So let's go here. I'm going to remove the callback. Come back here because I don't like that. So connection approval is 1. Let's rename this to request, and let's rename this to response. So we got the request that help us decide like whether or not we want to accept the person. We set things on response, and then at the end we just need to say response dot pending equal false, meaning okay, we've reached a decision, and whatever we've set on the response is what it is. So yeah, so that's how you set up the connection callback. Now that we have that, we can ask to connect to the relay. So the way you do that is networkmanager.singleton.get component. We want the Unity transport component because that's the transport we're using. .set relay, and then we want the host data. So here, what it wants, actually, it wants the IP address. So we can go look at it. It wants the IP address as a string, the port as a ushort, the allocation ID as a bytes, the key as a byte, connection data bytes, and then if it's secure. The problem is we don't have those information as bytes. We actually have them right now. I think it's allocation ID is a GUID, key is a string, and connection data, I don't even remember what it is. But there's going to be another thing. Set client as a host who actually want the same connection data, but it also want the host connection data. So this is all information we're going to need now to add to the relay manager before we call this, and then we're going to get all those parameters and then pass it here. So let's go into the relay manager. In the relay manager, so here what we need is we're going to need some private byte for the key that we didn't store right now. we're gonna need actually this, but the host connection data, and we're gonna actually mean to do this and get also the allocation ID, but as a byte array. So byte array and allocation ID, let's say bytes. Okay, so now this is all information we actually need to store, but it's pretty simple. In here, we can store the key equals the allocation dot key. So it's already a byte array. That's all we need. Like we need actually the allocation byte here. Allocation byte equals allocation dot allocation ID bytes, which is also provided. And you kind of can do the same thing in here. So here we can have the allocation ID bytes equals the allocation dot allocation ID bytes. We can have the key, which is equal to the allocation. Allocation dot key. Yeah. So sorry, what is it? Did I not name it correctly? Yeah, not naming it correctly. So here, let's put the underscore key, and then the only difference is that here you're gonna need one more piece of information in here, which is the host connection data equals the allocation dot host connection data, which is already a byte. So that's it. Now we have all the information to kind of join the relay. Okay, so for the next part, just bear with me if you haven't used the syntax before. I'm going to give you two functions. These two, you can take some time to copy it. So for now, we're just going to go in here and correct this because it should be underscore. This syntax is called a tuple. So it's actually returning like multiple value from a function instead of your classic like return one single value. In our context, it's particularly useful since we don't want to do a ton of getter for that, but you could easily do a getter for all of these parameters. You would have like 6 getters, but it gives us like kind of a short syntax to do it. And I can show you like in the GameManager, then you can do this to kind of like get every parameter. They need to be in order, but every parameter that is here is kind of getting also assigned on the other side, and they need to match in terms of I think it's only the order that matter, but the name might matter also, but for sure respect the order at least. So yeah, and then now that we have that, we can just actually pass it. So we can pass the IP here, we can pass the port, but the port I think they want it in ushort format, so we're gonna have to type ushort here, cast it. Oops, not with this, but with this. There you go, ushort port. And then it wants the allocation ID, and then the key, and then the connection data, and then we pass true for secure. Okay, so no, it's not this one, it's this one. Okay, so this will allow to actually set the relay data. So this doesn't actually connect, but it set all the data needed for when we want to start the game. So what we actually do now is NetworkManager dot singleton dot start host, and there we go. With that, we can actually start the host, and basically you can copy paste this, right? The only thing that's going to change is we're going to add after the connection data here another parameter, which is the host connection data. Okay, and we're going to call get client connection data. It's the same here. We're going to do set client relay data, and then after send client relay, oh, they're missing a T here, relay data. So it's the same parameter. The only thing is like here it wants the host connection data, and then the last one is secure. So this is basically everything you need to actually make both players spawn in the same scene, and we're gonna take a look at it. In fact, one last thing that I forgot was that the connection approval, you actually need to set, we talked about it, but you actually need to say that it's approved. For now, there's no condition to join the server, but we can definitely have some. And we need to say that create default, the player object needs, like, when the person joins, is it spectating, is it something, or we create a player object. So for us, we're gonna create a player object. There you go. Now we can go. So now you can go in the init scene, and we're going to see a bug actually that was reported in the comment section from someone who was trying to kind of continue the tutorial. And there's a simple solution to that. So, okay, so I'm coming here. I'm selecting the map, and you're going to see me. I'm going to appear, but I'm going to quickly disappear. So let's go. Let's start. So I'm here, but I disappeared. And if you look into this, there's like tons of NetworkManager, and then we get a rate limit, and then more NetworkManager are spawning. So what is actually happening? The problem is actually that whenever we transfer to the map, we continue to listen to the lobby update. And the lobby update, whenever it detects that there's a code inside the lobby data, it actually tries to put us in the map, put us in the map, put us in the map. So every time it transfers us to a map, So then it had NetworkManager rehat the scene. He rehades all the components in the scene, and then it kind of gets you get rate limits, and this is not the behavior we want. So we want that whenever we quit the lobby to go inside the game, our lobby manager kind of knows it and stop trying to change our scene. So we're gonna go and fix that. All right, so here for that, we're gonna go at the top here. We're gonna declare a new variable, which is going to be a int. No, not int, a bool in game, and it's going to be equal to false, because most of the time it's going to be equal to false. We're just turning it to true in specific situation. So for that, there's two places. Whenever we start the game here, so as soon as the relay is created, we want to update it. So it's really important that it's done. For the host, it's really important that it's done before we update the lobby, and you'll see why later. And for also for the join relay here, we can do this equals true. And what we need to do is that here in the lobby updated, whenever we do the scene manager, this needs to only run if we're not in game. Oops, not in game. There we go. So let's test this. Right here we have Unity. It's going to reload, and then we're going to clear and test this. So let's clear this. Let's start the game. And we have the host. Let's go here. Red, ready, start. And here we go. We have our own little guy in the red scene. We spawned the default prefab. We know it's the right prefab because it doesn't have this indicator. So yeah, let's test this. Let's move the camera here. So I'm gonna press stop. Project maps red. Yeah, I'm gonna save my scene. I changed some stuff. So the camera should be like this, in fact, because our prefab is looking like this. Let's go like this. Main camera. Align with view. And now let's make a build and test this. In fact, before we build, I just saw that we made another mistake, and sorry guys, it was my fault. I copy pasted this, but in here, if you're not the host, you should call start client. Let's go here, let's change it, and start client. No, not start client. There we go. So now they're going to be able to join us. All right, so I made a build. So now we're going to host in here, and we're going to want to join in here. Let's enter the code. And then we're going to join. There we go. We joined this. We're going to go to the red map. So red map ready. We're going to see it here at some point. Go ready. It should take max 6 seconds for you to update, but sometimes like it takes a little bit longer. So there you go. Both see the host can start the game. And there we go. If I give this one the focus, it takes some time, but there we go. We join. So now if I'm going here, I go in there, we can see that both players in there. Right now, they're kind of overlapping each other, and I cannot move it. Oh, yeah, there you go. But they're here. Both of them are here. There we go. We just joined a game. And there it is for our first video on the netcode for GameObjects. And the next video, we're actually going to start constructing the game and start with the player controller. If you like the video, please like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.